remember the names. This is called floaters. What I did is I really was trying to do something about botanical shapes, natural shapes. And I did a linoleum cut, which is basically, it's a soft material which you can cut out different shapes. And I stamped it on the canvas. And while I was doing it, I was just dragging a brush, the back of a brush across this. I just liked the textures. So I was experimenting. I just keep experimenting with shapes. And that idea of a seed pod or a form like that was in my mind. So you'll see it throughout these. This one is somewhat the same, but it's also a lino cut, but then I drew into it. I cut another lino cut here, and I stamped there was an old plaster cast I found, and I stamped it on the bottom. And then I just threw paint on this, because I wanted sort of a gestural thing. So I try to experiment with a form, and just push it a little bit. And that's what I've been doing with this. And then I wanted some abstract forms in here, so I cut into this. I like Sumi brushwork, which is an Asian, Oriental kind of gestural kind of a thing with the brush. I like to do that. And these pieces don't have a lot of that, but I've done pieces that are totally Asian in appearance. They're just gestural with the brush, just like a Sumi brush, ink on paper or ink on canvas. So I like to do that. This is a continuation of that idea. And I work over things. Sometimes I'll take a painting and I'll just work it over and over and over, layer it with different glazes. I use acrylic and also mixed media. Printmaking, drawing, stencil. I try to throw it all in there. This one's called Harvest, and I think the contrast between warm colors, ochres, yellows, golds, and against the black sometimes works. And again, I'm pushing the idea of a natural form. The Japanese have a term called wabi-sabi, which means the overlooked things, the discarded things in nature, the small things like George O'Keeffe found little poppies, and she said no one really looked at these things very closely until she did them. And I find that's kind of fascinating. This is the same notion, and the contrast in colors, green and red, kind of jump. So I was experimenting with this. This is on paper, and I like to do prints on paper. I tape the edges because I can't cut mats worth a darn. So I just tape the edges and take the tape off, and you get a white edge. It's nice paper. I get it at Skidmore College, and it's a good heavy stock paper. Here, this is as close as some of these get to kind of a natural scene, like a jungle scene. I got a little bit of a Sumi work in here, and you can see some stencils in the background, which are just like soft blues, little patriotic red, white, and blue. This one is more of this kind of brushwork. These run the risk of being repetitive, but I wanted to follow a pattern. I wanted to keep exploring this, and that's why I'm doing it the way I did here. These little ones are based on a lino cut I did of a thistle, and they're on wood. You know, wood panels are fun to work on, and because you can press in the print and things like that. This I call berries because it just turned out. These were actually hearts, human hearts at one point, and an old painting. It was a two-part painting, a diptych, and I stenciled these right over the hearts. You can see sort of the valve shape here. It's a little crazy, but fun. I wanted to explore positive and negative shapes. And frankly, I don't know what I'm doing. Literally, it's all kind of a Buddhist term, beginner's mind. I just try not to control it. I just let go and really intuitively just put down what I feel like. So there's a lot of that. And this one has a lot of different stencils in it. This is the thistle stencil that I used on the other ones. Stamped it on there. Then I put another stencil here. And then this, I just put blotches here, and they started turning out silvery, which I kind of enjoyed. So I guess the whole thing, all of these are an experiment in taking an object and pushing it through different possibilities. A lot of it's random, a lot of it's impulsive, intuitive, and that's what I like to do. I walk into the studio without a plan, and I do that.